Once you've closed a priced round with Founder Catalyst or already have the relevant paperwork in place from another platform or a previous ASA round, raising again becomes much simpler. When it comes to later rounds, we don't need to create the founder service agreement or IP assignments as they are already in place. There are 3 different types of funding rounds you can choose from. The first option, you may wish to undertake another funding round, but keeping the same terms. This means we'll keep the shareholders' agreement and articles as is. We'll still ask you some basic information about the round, such as how much are you raising, your valuation, and similar. And you'll still need to complete a new set of disclosures. But the process is less complex than the first funding round. Once you've invited new investors to the platform, they will onboard as normal and will then be presented with a slightly different document, a subscription and adherence agreement. This process of closing the round, signing documents, is very similar to the first funding round. The second option is to replace your existing shareholders agreement and articles with amended documents. This process is almost identical to running a first funding round, but in this instance, we won't issue new IP assignments and founder service agreements because you've already got those. The third and final option is an agile funding round. To use this feature, you must have previously authorized additional new shares, either as part of a full funding round or through a previous agile authorization. An agile funding round lets you bring investors into your company and complete each investment individually, rather than waiting to close the entire round at once. This can help reduce investor attrition and allows you to receive investment funds sooner. When you authorize an agile funding round, you set the maximum number of shares available, the minimum share price, and the period during which those shares can be issued. Once the authorized period expires or all of the shares have been allocated, you'll need to complete another full funding round or create a new agile authorization before you can continue raising. In an agile funding round, you don't need to ask permission from your existing shareholders to raise due to the authorization process. They've already waived preemption rights and given all necessary shareholder and investor permission for you to raise this amount. So this type of round can be very agile indeed. For the first 2 options, you may need to undertake a preemption process, obtain majority investor consents, and pass a special resolution, which requires owners of at least 75% of voting shares to agree. You're required to undertake the preemption process directly with investors, but we'll take care of ensuring that investor consents, if any, and shareholders' resolutions are obtained. Let's demonstrate an agile funding round from beginning to end. First, we'll create the round, we'll add an investor. We need to enter the usual details such as email, name, number of shares, scheme, price, and so on. The invite is sent to the potential investor, and their process is initially the same for all of the other rounds: NDA, FCA disclaimer, and term sheet. With a rolling round, there is only one document for each investor to sign, an adherence agreement. You can click Chase Outstanding Signatures, and the platform will send an email to those who have not yet signed. Once they've signed and transferred the cash, you need to acknowledge that by clicking the Mark as Received button and confirming with your password. This triggers a director signing both the board minutes and issuing a share certificate. Within the parameters of the Agile round, you can issue as many adherence agreements as you like, and you can close each of the adherence agreements investments individually. You don't need to wait for every investor. Once the round is completed, we'll simply click the Mark as Received button, and that's it. No consulting with existing shareholders for resolutions or consents. If there are still pending investments, they will be permanently removed. Only approved investments will stay. We hope this short video has helped to illuminate the options for further rounds. Please reach out to Founder Catalyst team to discuss anything raised here.